welcome back to the latest golf show. I'm here as ever with six-time European Tour winner Simon Dyson. We've not had a golf show for a while, Simon, so thanks for coming on. And even though you're not in the country, we still dragged you on Zoom away from your holiday. Where are you?
Absolutely, not a problem. We're just in Turkey. I'm here with my girls. Just come for a week. We're actually flying back today, so we're not flying till this afternoon. So it worked out really well.
The weather looks a bit nicer than here.
Yeah, it's been gorgeous, to be fair. It's a little bit overcast today, but we've had, 26, 27, literally every single day. It's been really good.
And you must have fit some golf in. You brought your clubs with you?
I didn't bring my clubs with me, but I'm taking my girls home today, and then I'm coming back out on Wednesday. So to do a little bit of work out here at Antalya Golf Club. They've got a nice academy there, so I'm going to do a few clinics and things. So I'm actually back on a plane in 48 hours, back out here.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Right, let's get to the golf then on the PGA Tour, shall we, this week, and we'll get straight into our event because there's no event on the European Tour, but we brought Simon in to preview the Bermuda Championship. It's the third edition of this event, played at Port Royal Golf Club in Southampton on the island of Bermuda, Simon. It's not a great field, although you got some highlights in the likes of Matt Fitzpatrick, Danny Willett, also Patrick Reed in the field as well. But it's one of those events, isn't it, where the big boys don't turn up to, and we get some shot winners like we've had over the last couple of years. Yeah,
you look at the last couple of winners. I mean, Brian Gale won last year. I don't think he'd won for 6 or 7 years. But it's another course that will really suit a specific type of player. It's not long. It's only 6,828 yards long, par 71, which for the PGA Tour is very short. But it's going to be Bermuda grass. Fairways are going to be key. Getting that control into the greens. The greens are quite big, but you're going to have to position your ball well. So greens in regulation, it's just going to be a fairways and greens type of week. But with it being on the coast, you've got the weather elements as well. So you're looking for guys who can control that ball flight as well. But yeah, it's going to be a really interesting week. And, we've had tournaments like this where, again, certain players kind of stand out. And you're going to be looking for one of them.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because Brian Gay last year, I think he went off at 200 to 1. And I think he'd missed 9 of the 11 cuts prior to that event. But he had finished third at the course the year before. So it was all about course form for him, going back to a track he knew he could play well on and he knew he could compete on. And that's the sort of thing that these players this week will be thinking, it's a different track, it's on the coast, it's short, it's maybe my week.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's from the scores over the last few years, it's not been a massive birdie fest either. So you can tell that it's obviously going to be quite tricky, even though it's not very long. And we mentioned Webb Simpson a lot for courses that really suit his game. And it's going to be the same this week. Obviously, he's not in the field, but you're going to be looking for a Webb Simpson type player who strikes the ball lovely, hits a lot of fairways, hits a lot of greens, and gives a lot of chances to themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those course fit weeks, isn't it? I was looking at one of the angles, perhaps being the Bermuda grass, as you mentioned. It's Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass this week. And for those that don't know, they use that a lot in Florida, the likes of Sawgrass for the Players, Bay Hill, PGA National for the Honda Classic. And there does seem to be a bit of correlation to that. And I know you were looking at other coastal tracks as well, the likes of Mayakoba, also the Sony Open, those sort of things. It really seems to be one of those where even if you're not in form, if you seem like a good fit this week, you might go well.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, those type of courses, you want to be hitting from the fairway. You have no control over that ball from the rough. And then if you're missing greens, it's tough up and down. So, yeah, I mean, the ideal player this week is a lot of fairways, a lot of greens, and is a good putter.
Yeah, most weeks that'd be okay, wouldn't it?
Most weeks that'd do, yeah. But, sometimes just hitting fairways isn't good enough. I've mentioned Rory a few times when he's won Dubai Desert Classic, was second to last in fairways hit, but it was pure length that got him the chances of birdies. So, but hitting fairways, setting yourself up for that approach shot this week is huge.
Yeah, to be fair, on a lot of tracks rather on the PGA Tour, you can get away with it, can't you, off the tee? But perhaps not this week, with the conditions perhaps being windy once again on the coast. Right. So, with all that in mind, how many picks have you gone for this week, Simon? And who's going to be the first?
I've gone for 3 picks this week, and my first pick is Mr. Graeme McDowell. Straight away, the stat that's for me, he's first in driving accuracy. Again, we've spoken about it. That is huge this week. Just sets you up. He's 70% greens in regulation as well. So he's nearly hitting 3/4 of the greens. So he's looking at like 13 greens around, which is very good. You know, you mentioned Mayakoba Classic. He won it in 2015, similar type track, and he's a really good putter. And he knows how to win. Simple as, he knows how to win. And with the field not being premium like we used to on the USPGA, you know, he will be going into this really fancying his chances.
Yeah, I've just been looking through his form actually as you're speaking there, and he's not been in great form, but he's actually made his last 3 cuts. And I'm just scrolling back now. I think the last time he made 3 cuts in a row was January last year. So even though it's not been top finishes, he's at least getting some consistency there. And I mean, we know, you mentioned the Mayakoba. I think all his wins have been on coastal tracks. He won at Pebble, of course. He's won at Hilton Head, Mayakoba, and I think he was a close finish in the Dominican Republic also this season as well. So he's one of those players who just loves this sort of test, isn't he?
He does. And you know what? Like, he's made the last 3 cuts and his form's not been great, but that's all you need to get those 4 rounds in consistently and just keep competitive golf going. You know, it's better than a miscut and then 4 rounds, miscut 4 rounds. You want to be building that confidence and not learning the ability to score again, but the competitive scoring is very different. So those last 3 weeks, the last 3 cuts made will have done him the world of good.
Okay, good stuff. Graeme McDowell in the first one. Seems like a very good fit. Who's next?
I'm going to go for Russell Knox. Again, nice player, really steady, consistent player. Like G-Max greens in regs are 70%, Russell Knox is a 75. So he is actually hitting 3/4 of the greens that is hitting into, which again is great. His driving accuracy is 65%. So he's hitting 2/3 of fairways. He won the Irish Open. He's finished second. He's finished second in the French Open, which we all know is the type of course that it's all about the fairways and greens. You know, he finished top 30 a few weeks ago. And his best finish this year is Pebble Beach, finished 7th, where we know it's on the coast again and it's open to the elements. So he's the one. If I was putting them in order, he'd probably be the 3rd pick I'd go for. But there's just something about him. He's a very, very consistent player. You know, he's been top 20 in the world as well. So you know you're a good player when you're doing that. And this course might just suit him.
Yeah, he's a World Golf Championship winner, isn't he? So he's certainly got a lot of quality. And I'm not sure if you mentioned, but he's second to McDowell in a playoff at Mayakoba as well. So if you're linking all of that form together, he could go well. He's a very good iron player as well, isn't he? So hopefully if it does get windy, that'll stand him in very good stead. So hopefully a big price to him as well, Russell Knox this week. Okay, That's 2. Who's the 3rd?
I'm going to go for the American, Brandon Wu. I watched this lad a few years ago in the Walker Cup, and he stood out a mile in that team. It was the team that played at Hoylake. They won, but he stood out a mile. And I know he had a good season on the Corn Ferry Tour last year, gained his playing rights for this year. Again, greens in reg is around the 70%, so he's hitting a lot of greens. I think he finished 7th in Puerto Rico, where Brandon Grace won. Again, similar type of course. He's got good, credentials on this type of course. I think he was 6th in greens in reg on the Corn Ferry Tour last year, which is very impressive. And this is almost the type of course that those Corn Ferry lads will be playing most weeks as well. So it'll kind of suit his game. And I just think I'm still waiting for this lad to do a Morikawa or a Cameron Champ or something like that and win, because out of all the college kids that are coming out, he would have been up there. He was well up there. I mean, he literally left college and signed a big contract because everyone thought this kid's going to be a superstar. And we're still just waiting for him to blossom, but I believe he will at some point. Yeah,
I think so too. So I've been very impressed with him the times that I have seen him, and it's good that he's got his PGA Tour card back. So it looks like a good pick. Hopefully, again, another big price with Brandon Wu. Right, let's just mention some of the favourites then, Simon, because a lot of people will be backing them this week. The likes of Matt Fitzpatrick, first of all. He hasn't played this event before, but I would imagine it would suit him. And of course, the last time we saw him, he did win Valderrama. So he's obviously got a big chance.
It will suit him. It really will. I mean, if you can win round Valderrama, you can win round anywhere, especially a course like this. Again, it's a lot of fairways. His iron play is good. Fantastic putter. So having won a couple of weeks ago, he's going to be coming into this really fancying his chances.
Yeah, I guess the only problem is if you are backing him at a short price, it's quite rare, isn't it, that we have back-to-back wins, especially across two different tours. Another European Tour player, well, plays a lot in America now, is Danny Willett, but we saw him win the Dunhill Links at St Andrews and then came over and I think get a top 25 in America the week after. So again, he's another player that people will latch onto this week. But I guess the only thing with Danny is he tends to win the big events nowadays, and maybe he's one to swerve in a lesser event like this.
Yeah, it's quite funny, isn't it, of the big events that he's winning. He won Dunhill, really got to control your ball there. It's not about distance. It's not about, bombing it 350, although it does help on a links course, but it's more about working your ball. And this type of course requires similar traits in his golf game. So, yeah, it could go well. I think, yeah, I'm kind of almost a bit surprised he's playing this week, Danny, but it's another tournament and he wants a PGA win.
I'm not surprised by anyone going over to Bermuda for a week and enjoying the sunshine. Yeah, let's just mention Patrick Reed as well, because I did mention him at the start. He is probably the class act in the field on his best form, but he's been out of form. We saw him, he got an illness, didn't he? Miss the Ryder Cup as well. So he'll have a point to prove, but maybe just one to watch and see, because we're just not quite sure how well he's recovered and how well he's playing.
Yeah, it's always tough coming back from an illness. He's probably not picked up a club for a good while. And, it can take a couple of weeks to kind of get back into the rhythm of things. But we all know what a world-class player he is. There's no doubt in that. And he believes in himself more than anybody. So it could be, like you say, a great week for him to try and get that adrenaline going and get back in contention again.
Okay, wouldn't put you off any of those then, but we don't have the betting as yet. I would imagine they are the favourites as we record this now, but Simon has gone with a few big prices. Right, let's just have a quick recap of last week, Simon, as well, before we go, because one of your selections in the Zozo Championship in Japan, Brendan Steele, finished tied second at 80-1. So if you backed him here at Betfred, that's a nice each-way payout at 16-1. And you must have been proud of how he did.
Do you know what? I was absolutely made up. I know his coach, Chris Mason, and I texted him just to say, he's done great, and that I'd tipped him this last week for the tournament. And he actually texted me back and said, he's been playing great. He's just not been getting the results. And obviously the course suited him, as we said. And I was a bit gutted because I was so close to going Matsuyama as well. I was so close going for him. It's easy to say it now he's won it, but I really was. But I was pleased with Brendan Steele. Really good. Second place for him there.
Yeah, no, Matsuyama was popular in the shops as well. So plenty of people did latch on to the Japanese going back and winning his home event. Of course, he came second to Tiger, didn't he, a couple of years ago? And a brilliant iron player. That seems to be the key around there. So well done to those who backed Hideki. Well done if you backed the Dane, Jeff Winter, by the way, in the European Tour. I'm not sure many would have, winning his first European Tour event in Mallorca. And he had a scare on the Sunday morning as well, managed to lock himself in the bathroom, but still managed to make his tee time. And maybe it helped settle the nerves for him. But I know he's a player that you know, Simon, and we've had so many first-time winners, and another one this week on the European Tour.
Yeah, I've played a lot with Jeff. He's a really nice guy, good player. He's the type of player that would always give 100%. You'd never put him as like a Danny Willett or somebody like that who's going to win big events, but it's great to see him win his first event. I'm really pleased for him. He deserves it. He's a never gives in, and just gives every tournament his all. And it was nice that his family were there to see it as well. It must have been a really nice moment for him.
Yeah, all the hard work paying off. So well done to him last week. And finally, before we go, on the Champions Tour, what a win it was for Bernhard Langer, winning for the 42nd time on that tour at a record age of 64 yesterday. He's now just 3 wins behind Hale Irwin's record total of 45 wins on the Champions Tour, Simon. He is just incredible. Words can't really describe him.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He just seems to get better with age, doesn't he? He's like a fine wine. I had the pleasure of playing with him a couple of times, once in Germany, which was amazing. The crowds, they love him. They absolutely love him. They know he's just so efficient, isn't he? Typical kind of German. You look at what he's done over the years. It's just phenomenal, and just doesn't seem to get any older, and keeps winning and winning. And it's I'm sure it will be his last one.
All right, brilliant. That's a wrap then, Simon. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on, despite enjoying your holiday in Turkey. You'll be back there later this week. Do you want to mention Manchester United before we leave?
No. You know what? It's been coming. They've been very lucky the last month. They've got a few results gone their way by being quite lucky. And it was funny because I remember Paul Scholes mentioning when they played at Atalanta the other day. And he said, if they turn up like that against Liverpool, they could be 4-0 down at half time. And everyone laughed at him, and look what happened. He knows his stuff, does Scholesy.
Yeah, regular viewers will know you're a United fan, and obviously that was a big disappointment yesterday. What about the manager then? A lot of talk about him. The club don't seem to have any plan going forward if they are to replace him, so I would imagine he's going to stay.
Do you know what? You look at, all I ask people is, would he manage any other club in the top 8? And the answer is no. And the unfortunate thing is, there's no high credential managers out there up for grabs. So it's like, what do you do? They're in a really tough situation. They had the chance to get, some good managers in the past, and they've dilly-dallied, and they're paying for it now.
Okay, well, on to more positive things, perhaps then, and we'll move on to your selections this week. Just a recap of those 3, Simon, and who would be the best bet for you?
So I've gone Graeme McDowell, Russell Knox and Brandon Wu. My best bet out of those 3 would have to be GMAC. Proven winner. I know the Russell Knox is as well, but GMAC's proven winner. The driving accuracy thing, he's going to be in position. If he gets that putter working, he'll be banging contention. Yeah,
he does seem really a great fit on paper, doesn't he, for this week and this sort of challenge. So we'll wait for the odds to come out, and hopefully he is a nice price. Right, next week we'll be back on the European Tour as well, because we've got the Portugal Masters, and then we're off to Dubai, of course, for a couple of events, the season end and championships. But thanks for coming on, Simon.
Thank you.
And best of luck with your selections as well at home. We are in Bermuda this week for now, so enjoy the views, hopefully enjoy your winner, and we'll be back next week with another event on the PGA Tour and back on the European Tour in Portugal as well. We'll see you soon.